Right now, look at your hands. One of them, without you ever choosing it, is in charge. It writes your name. It holds the fork. It reaches first when something matters. For about 9 out of 10 people on Earth, that hand is the right one. Stop and notice how strange that is. 9 out of 10. The same hand winning in every country, every culture on every continent, for as far back as we can trace. That is not a coincidence. That is one of the strangest, most consistent patterns in the entire human species. And for a long time, nobody could explain it. Here is what makes it truly bizarre. You're the only animal on Earth that does this. Your dog does not have a dominant paw the way you have a dominant hand. Neither does a cat, a horse, or a bird. Even chimpanzees, who share almost all of your DNA, are split roughly down the middle. Some favor the left, some the right. And as a species, there is no clear winner. Only humans, out of every creature alive, line up so overwhelmingly on one side. The question is not just why you are right-handed. It is why your entire species is. For decades, this was one of the great unsolved puzzles of human evolution. But a new study, published in 2026, may have finally cracked it. And the answer has almost nothing to do with your hands at all. Start with what handedness actually is, because it is deeper than which hand holds the pen. Your two hands are controlled by opposite sides of your brain. The right hand is run by the left side, the left hand by the right. Handedness is really a sign that your brain has picked a side. It has specialized. Instead of splitting a task evenly between both halves, your brain assigns fine, skilled movements to one hemisphere and lets it take the lead. That specializing is the real event. The hand is just where you see it. So the real question becomes, why did the human brain so overwhelmingly pick the same side? To answer it, a team led by researchers at the University of Oxford and the University of Reading did something clever. They did not just study humans. They gathered data on more than 2,000 individual primates across 41 different species of monkeys and apes. Then they asked a simple question. Across all these animals, what actually predicts how strongly a species prefers one hand? And the first answer that fell out was not about brains at all. It was about how they move. Think about a monkey up in the trees. Its life depends on reaching, grabbing, and stabilizing itself among the branches, often with one hand while the other holds on. Its hands are busy, constantly, just with the work of getting around. There is no chance to specialize one hand for delicate tasks, because both are needed all the time just to survive the canopy. Now, picture the single, most important shift in human history. Your ancestors came down from the trees, and they stood up. They started walking on two legs. And in that one move, something was set free. Your hands. For the first time, your hands were no longer needed for moving around. They were not gripping branches or knuckle walking across the ground. They were just there, free, available, waiting for purpose. And the researchers found this was the crucial first step. When they looked across all those primate species, the ones that walked more upright, freeing their hands from the job of movement, showed stronger hand preferences. Walking upright did not just change how we travel. It handed us a spare pair of tools and, with them, the pressure to get good at using them. But that alone was not enough to explain the extreme human pattern. There was a second ingredient, and it is the other thing that defines you as a species. Your brain. Its size. The team found that when they added brain size into the equation, the last piece clicked into place. Humans, who had looked like a bizarre outlier that no model could explain, suddenly stopped looking strange at all. Once you account for two things, upright walking and a large brain, the human pattern is no longer an anomaly. It becomes exactly what you would predict. The mystery does not need a special human exception. It needs a big brain and two legs. Here is why that combination is so powerful. A larger, more complex brain is expensive to run, and one way it saves energy and gains skill is by specializing. Instead of both halves doing everything, each side takes on different jobs. Your left hemisphere, in most people, became the specialist for fine motor control and later for language. And as it took charge of skilled movement, the hand it controls, your right hand, became the dominant one. The bigger and more specialized the brain grew, the harder that rightward lean became, until it hardened into the near-universal pattern you were born into. So the researchers pieced together a two-stage story. First, walking upright freed your hands and created the pressure to make one of them skilled. Then, as the brain expanded and specialized, that mild preference sharpened into the overwhelming right-handed bias we see today. They could even use their models to look back through the family tree. The earliest human ancestors probably had only a mild rightward lean, much like apes today. But as you move forward through the human line, through Homo erectus, through the Neanderthals, to us, the bias grows stronger and stronger, tracking the very rise of walking upright and growing a bigger brain. Which means your right hand is not a small quirk. It is a fingerprint of the two things that made you human. Every time it reaches for something before you even think, it is quietly retracing the same path your ancestors walked. Down from the trees, onto two legs, and into a mind big enough to pick a side. So the next time you sign your name, or catch something out of the air, or simply notice which hand moves first, remember what you are actually looking at. That is not just a preference. It is the echo of the moment your ancestors stood up, freed their hands, and grew the kind of brain that could finally choose. You did not decide to be right-handed. It was decided long ago by the two greatest turning points in the story of your species. And your hand has been quietly telling that story your whole life.